All right, let's do a recap, and then we'll start. So last week, what happened was, so the Lin family was under attack, right? And they were being attacked, and a lot of the workers just kept on dying one by one. And they didn't know what was going on. But finally they escaped and they ran away. The father, the mother, and the son, Lin Pingji, the son, they ran away and they ran to a restaurant. They stopped by a restaurant, and they found out that two of the workers, or all the workers in the restaurants, died. Right, they died, and then they met these guys from the Qincheng Sword School. Three guys, I think, and they start fighting, and then the guys beat them up. And Lin Pingji and his mother, they get kind of destroyed, right? And now they got their pressure points sealed, so they can't move. And that's where we are. You guys ready? Yes, Nikki says Lin Fimi's animated in real life. He's only human looking for the live stream. Yeah, this is my human costume. How's it going? Does it look good? Does it look real? I hope so. Elisa, yeah, you gotta go. It's late. Oh, 1:36 is late, so you better go to sleep. All right, let's get started, you guys. Let's get started. Lin Pingji wanted more than anything to get up and fight Fang Rengji and Yu Renghao to the death. But with several of his pressure points sealed, he was unable to move his lower body at all. He would become a complete invalid if they were to cut the nerves and tendons of his limbs and thread him through the collarbone, and he would rather die fighting than go through all that pain. So remember, one of the guys threatened to just cut their tendons so that they can't move. I think he was just kidding, but we don't know. Suddenly, screams sounded from the back kitchen. Ah! Ah! It was a long cry filled with pain, and it was the voice of Jia Renda. That's one of the people from the Qincheng Sword School. Fang Rengji and Yu Renghao both jumped up with their swords drawn and dashed into the kitchen immediately. A shadow flashed by the door, and a person glided in silently, then grabbed Lin Pingji by the collar and picked him up. Lin Pingji cried out in surprise when he took a glimpse at the pox-covered face of his rescuer, the face that belonged to the ugly wine-selling girl who had caused all the trouble in the beginning. Ah, so we meet the pox-covered girl again. And apparently she rescued him. The plot thickens. The ugly girl dragged him all the way out the front door. Arriving at the big tree where the horses were reined, she grabbed him by the back with her left hand and lifted him up on horseback. With Lin Pingji still in a state of shock, the girl pulled out a sword and swung it swiftly. The blade flashed and the rein was cut free. She prodded the thigh of the horse with her sword, feeling pain. The horse let out an angry neigh and then pounded madly into the woods. "Mom! Dad!" Lin Pingji shouted. Worrying about his parents and not wanting to run away by himself, he gave a hard push against the back of the horse and fell off. After quite some rolling on the ground, he found himself deep in some tall bushes. The horse did not stop and soon disappeared into the woods. Holding on to a branch, Lin Pingji tried to stand up, only finding that his legs had little strength to support him. After raising himself up about a foot, he fell back into the bushes. His waist and backside were tremendously sore. The pain must have come from bumping into rocks and tree roots after he fell from the horse. Shouting and pounding footsteps came louder and louder from behind, and moments later, someone rushed by him. Lin Pingji lay motionless in the bushes. He could hear the loud clashes of weapons nearby. Several people had started a fierce fight. Quietly, he stuck his head out and watched from the bushes. One group of fighters consisted of Fang Rengji and Yu Renghao of the Qincheng Sword School. Opposing them were the ugly girl and a man with his face concealed behind a black cloth. Most of his hair was gray, so it was obvious that he was an old man. It didn't take Lin Pingji much time to conclude that he was the ugly girl's grandfather, Old Man Sa. All right. So the two people, that pox-covered girl and the old man, they're back. And apparently they're not the bad guys. They rescued Lin Pingji, and now they're fighting against those apprentices from the Qincheng school. Nikki, yep, her again. Alisa. Good night, Alisa. Manting says, I love the story. Yep. The story is pretty good. This is one of my favorite stories. And Nikki says, the cook died in the last chapter. Now no one can eat. I know. That's very sad. Amanda says she didn't see that coming. No, you thought they were bad guys. It looks like they were good guys. I thought those two were also from the Qincheng Sword School, Lin Pingji pondered, but it turned out that the girl rescued me. Oh, if I had only known that they were both masters of Kung Fu, I wouldn't have risked playing the hero and causing all this trouble for no reason. And he thought, since they are all so busy fighting right now, this is the perfect opportunity for me to rescue my father and mother. But the pressure point at his back was still sealed, and his body just wouldn't cooperate. Who are you? How did you learn the sword skills of the Qincheng Sword School? Fang Rengji cried out in disbelief. The old man didn't answer. Suddenly, with several blazing flashes, Fang Rengji's sword flew into the air. Fang Rengji immediately jumped backward, and Yu Renghao rushed forward to block the attacks. The old man kept pressing with lightning-fast moves. You! Yu Renghao shouted, his voice betraying surprise and fear. With a loud ring, his sword also flew into the air. The ugly girl jumped forth and lunged, but the old man parried her thrust. Don't kill him, he commanded. But they're so cruel and killed so many people, the ugly girl argued. Let's go, the old man said. Seeing the hesitation on the ugly girl's face, the old man gave her a reminder. Don't forget our master's orders. Guess I'll let them off this time, the ugly girl nodded reluctantly, and then left through the small grove of trees. The old man followed her, and before long, both of them disappeared into the woods. It took Fang and Yu quite a while to calm down. They both picked up their own swords. Unbelievable. How did he know our Qincheng sword techniques? Yu Renghao still could not believe it. He only knew a few, but when he used the move Goose in the Sky, he did really. Fang Rengji had to agree. They rescued the Lin boy, Yu Renghao said. Let's just hope this isn't a trick to lure us away from the Lin couple, Fang Rengji yelled suddenly. Damn, Yu Renghao cried. The two turned around and rushed back. A short while later, the sounds of horses moving at a slow trot broke the silence. Two horses passed through the woods. Fang Rengji and Yu Renghao each led a horse, and Lin Junan and Madame Wang were each tied to a horse. Lin Pingji almost shouted out, Mom, Dad! Fortunately, he was able to swallow the words. He knew that if he made any kind of noise, not only would he get himself killed, but he would also ruin any opportunity to rescue his parents. Trailing about 20 feet behind the two horses, a man limped along. It turned out to be Jia Renda. A white cloth wrapped around his head was soaked with blood, and he cursed loudly, limping. Hell, you sons of turtles took the rabbit boy. There's that sons of turtles again. But I've still got these two old rabbits. I'll give each of these two old rabbits a good lashing every day. When we arrive at Mount Qincheng, we'll see how many lives they still have left. So it looks like they're going to take the parents to Mount Qincheng, which is where the Qincheng school resides. Beowulf says, is this a book I missed? Number 1. Yep, this is a book. Oh, so yeah, there's a playlist of these live streams, these live readings. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna uh, make uh, make the videos unlisted. Okay, so you can still watch it with the playlist. So there's a playlist. There'll be a playlist on the channel, and you can still watch it. But everything except the first and the last live streams, I'll keep unlisted because it's just clogging up the video, all the videos on the channel. So if you go through the channel, you'll just see a bunch of live streams, and you'll think, oh, this is a channel about live readings, and it's not. Amanda is painting a donut. Okay. If you say so. Junior Apprentice Chia, Fang Rengji yelled in admonishment. The master has reminded us over and over to make sure that we capture the Lin couple alive. If any accidents were to befall them, I'd pay to see how many layers of skin the master would peel off of you. Jia Renda snorted, but shut up instantly. Lin Pingji listened as the Qincheng disciples walked away. He was actually slightly relieved from what he just heard. They are going to send my parents all the way to Mount Qincheng, and they won't give them too much of a hard time on the way. Fujian is far away from Sichuan. I'll have to find a way to rescue father and mother. Then he thought, when I get to an escort house branch, I should send a message to Grandpa in Luoyang. He lay silently in the bushes, oblivious to the bites from mosquitoes and other bugs. Several hours passed. When the sealed pressure points on his back finally opened up, it was already dark. He managed to stand up and slowly walked back to the small restaurant. I'd better disguise myself so those two villains won't recognize me. Even if they see me face to face, how am I going to rescue my parents if I get killed? He asked himself. All right, so yeah, when you get your pressure points sealed and then you're paralyzed, you can't move, it'll take a while. It depends on how powerful you are, but it'll take some time for it to automatically be unsealed. It looks like after several hours passed, his pressure points were unsealed. After entering the restaurant owner's room and lighting the oil lamp, he searched for clothing, but the mountain people were so poor that they did not even own a spare set of clothes in which to change. Very disappointed, he walked out of the restaurant. When he spotted the bodies of the owner and his wife lying on the ground, well, I guess I'll have to use the clothes of the deceased, he thought. He took the clothes off the dead body and held them in his hands. They were filthy and stank badly. He considered washing the clothing before putting it on, but then decided against it. If he should miss an opportunity to save his parents simply because of his concern over clean clothes, surely he would regret it for the rest of his life. He clenched his teeth and undressed himself, and then changed into the clothes of the dead. Lighting a torch, he looked around and soon discovered his father's sword and his mother's golden saber lying in a corner. He picked up his father's sword and wrapped it in a rag, tied it to his back, and then walked outside. The croaking of the frogs in the canyon sounded in the distance through the otherwise silent night. Lin Pingji suddenly felt overwhelmed by desolation and almost cried out. He threw the torch as hard as he could. The flame formed a beautiful red arc in the night sky, before extinguishing itself in the pond. Instantly, darkness engulfed him once again. Lin Pingji, you can't be cautious and alert. If you can't be cautious and alert, and let yourself fall back into the hands of those Qincheng villains, then you will be snuffed out, just like that torch, falling into that filthy pond. Lin Pingji admonished himself. Raising his arms, he wiped the corners of his eyes with the sleeve. When the sleeve neared his face, the odor reeked so badly that he almost vomited. But firmly, he said to himself aloud, if you can't even withstand the foul odor, you are not a true man. He started walking, but before long his hips started hurting again. He clenched his teeth and increased his pace. However, not knowing which way his parents had been taken, he wandered randomly through different paths in the mountains. He walked till dawn, when the rays of sunshine bathed his face, making it difficult to see things clearly. Suddenly he was struck with a thought. Those two villains are going to Mount Qincheng. Sichuan province is to the west of Fujian. Why am I going east? He hurriedly turned around and began to walk with his back to the sun. Mother and father have been gone for more than half a day, he thought, and I walked in the opposite direction for half a night. I must be far away from them by now. I'd better buy a horse. I wonder how much money I will need. So we see here that Lin Pingji is, he's a spoiled little kid, right? So he hasn't seen a lot of the world. So he's walking. So it turns out he was walking in the opposite direction. Yeah. So it kind of shows us how inexperienced he is, and I think he's only 18, so he's not that old. Hannah says she's late again. You're not late. We've only just started. Yes. Whenever someone says Sons of Turtles, drink. Thanks, Nikki. Olivia. Hi, Olivia. I remember you. Dun, dun, dun. Amanda asks, what is your favorite donut flavor? I'm gonna go with chocolate. I'm a chocolate kind of guy. Yeah. What about you? I don't like the cream-filled ones. It seems kind of weird. I just like non-filled, good donuts, with some chocolate on top. Not too sweet. I don't like things too sweet. The chocolate is perfect. Steven says, is it weird that I think his voice is soothing? Not at all. Amanda, strawberry? Strawberry is good. Strawberry is good. I've heard someone say that strawberry is not a real flavor. Like if you actually eat a strawberry, it doesn't taste like the strawberry flavor that you get like from ice cream or something. It's artificial. So the real strawberries, they don't taste like the strawberry flavor, which I think is true. I don't know. All right, let's continue, guys. He examined his pocket and then groaned. When they started the trip, all the gold and jewelry were put into a leather saddlebag. Lin Jinan and Madame Wang both had silver on their persons, but not Lin Pingji. He did not have even a single tael. He stamped his foot in frustration. What should I do? What should I do? He stared at the sky blankly for a while and then thought, I must go rescue my parents. I am sure I'll find some way, somehow, and not starve. He began walking toward the foot of the mountain. When it was about noon, his stomach began to growl loudly. Some green fruits on a tree by the side of the road caught his eye. They were not ripe yet, but at least they would assuage his hunger. He went up to the tree to pick some fruits, but then he realized that the fruits must have belonged to someone. Taking them without permission was really no different from stealing. For 3 generations, the Lin family had protected goods from being robbed or stolen by bandits. How could he do something that only common thieves do? If somebody saw him and called him a thief in front of his father, it would have brought great shame upon his father. The honor of the Fortune Prestige Escort House would be disgraced forever. He had learned when he was still a little boy that all infamous criminals started out as small thieves, and that small thieves usually began by stealing only small things, like a squash or fruit. Then they would start to steal more and more, finally losing all self-control and never being able to stop. At that thought, he broke out in a cold sweat. He's very naive, right? Yeah, again, it's showing that he's not very experienced with the world. Like, if you're gonna starve, just steal a fruit, man. Seriously. I do it all the time. One day, father and I will restore the fame of the Fortune Prestige Escort House. I must always do what a true man does. I would rather beg than steal from others, he vowed. He continued on his trip in a hurry and gave no more thought to the fruit trees by the road. A couple of miles later, he arrived at a small village. He walked to a shack and started begging for food in a halting voice. He was used to being waited upon for everything all his life, and had never before had to beg for anything from other people. After only a couple of words, his face turned red with shame. The farmer's wife in the shack had just received a severe beating from her husband and was still in a foul mood. When she saw that Lin Pingji was just a mere beggar, she immediately released a torrent of abuse. "You little thief! What are you doing sneaking around? I just lost a hen. You probably stole it, and now you want more? Even if I had some food, I wouldn't give it to a thief like you. You stole my hen, and made my wretch of a husband so angry that he beat me all black and blue," she yelled, waving a broom. Every time the woman spat a curse, Lin Pingji stepped back a little. The woman became so excited that she swung her broom at Lin Pingji's face. Lin Pingji was furious. He moved to the side to dodge the broom, and then shot a strike at the woman with his palm. A sudden thought popped up into his head. How shameful, beating up a dumb farmer's wife just because she doesn't want to give me food. He tried to catch himself, but since he had used too much strength in the strike, he lost balance and stumbled. Then his left foot happened to land in a pile of cow dung. He slipped and fell on his back. The farmer's wife burst out laughing. "You little thief, you've got just what you deserve." She smacked him on his head with her broom and spat on him, then turned around and went into the shack. Oh, poor Lin Pingji. Got beaten by a farmer's wife. The Couch Samurai says, "Hey Linfamy, who won that thing you did?" What thing? You mean the contest? Yeah, someone already won the charm for last video. I guess I'll put it up I'll make a post on the community tab. I'll let you know about it. The answer was Takemi Kazuchi. Was the one who trapped the Onamazu with his stone. Lin Pingji felt angry at his humiliation. He got up and found his hands and face covered with cow dung. Surprisingly, the farmer's wife came back with 4 boiled corn cobs and stuck them into his hands. "Go on, kid, take these. God gave you such a pretty face, even prettier than a girl's, but you don't want to apply yourself. You are just a lazy bum. What good are you?" she said with a laugh. Still angry, Lin Pingji made to hurl the corn cobs away, but the farmer's wife said with a grin, "Very well, throw them away. Go ahead. Hey, if you got guts and you are not afraid to starve, great. Throw them away and I will watch you starve." Lin Pingji reconsidered. In order to rescue father and mother, and to seek revenge and restore the fame of the Fortune Prestige Escort House, I will have to bear all kinds of humiliation. Starting from today, no matter how hard or humiliating it is, I will just clench my teeth and take it without complaint. To be humiliated by a farmer's wife is really nothing, so he said, "Many thanks," and then took a big bite of a corn cob. "I knew you wouldn't throw them away," the farmer's wife smiled. She turned and walked away, still mumbling. "This kid is so hungry, it probably wasn't him who stole my hen. Ah, the damn husband. If he only had half of this kid's good temper, my life would be much better." Oh. Now you feel kind of bad for her. Along the way, Lin Pingji sometimes begged for food, and sometimes just ate wild fruits from the bushes. Luckily, this was a good harvest year in Fujian province, and most families had extra food left over. Although his face was covered in mud, he spoke good manners, so people liked him, and it wasn't too hard for him to beg for food. He tried to ask about information regarding his parents' whereabouts along the road, but was not able to learn anything. 8 days later, he entered Jiangxi province. He asked for directions to Nankang and went there straight away. He thought that the escort house branch in Nankang should have some information. Someone tell me how you pronounce that. Nankang? That's probably not it. If not, at least he could get some money and a fast horse. After entering the town of Nankang, he asked someone on the street about the Fortune Prestige escort house. Migu says, "Hey Linfamy, have you heard of the game called Okami?" Yes, I've heard of that game. It sounds pretty good. I haven't played it though, but I've seen screenshots. It looks really good. Yeah, a lot of people tell me about it. Actually, Nikki says, like she thinks that he ate the hen raw. I think she was just mad or sad that she was beaten by her husband. Yeah, the farmer life is not a good life. Amanda says, I have a feeling that they're all dead. Darter 9000 says she's angry and abused. She is. Man, I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. I'll probably be going to the bathroom about 100 times, so look forward to that. Where am I? Oh. Fortune Prestige Escort House? Why are you asking? It has been burned to the ground. Even the neighbors' houses were burnt down. There's nothing left, the man answered. Wow. Lin Pingqi groaned inwardly. He came to the street of the escort house and saw with his own eyes that the whole street was littered by debris. He stood there silently for a long time. Damn. It must be those gangsters from the Qincheng Sword School again. If I cannot have my revenge, I would rather die, he resolved. Without delaying in Nankang, he immediately went on his trip west. Several days later, he arrived at Changsha, the capital of Hunan province. He had thought that the Qincheng Sword School might have also burned down this escort house branch, but when he asked people about the news of the Fortune Prestige escort house, no one had heard anything. Lin Pingqi felt a great relief and started heading toward the escort house in big strides, and soon he arrived at the gate. Although the Hunan branch of the escort house was not as big as the Fuzhou headquarters escort house, it too had a huge vermilion gate, with two big, majestic stone lions sitting by the gate. Lin Pingqi peeked inside, but did not see anyone. I am almost in rags and look so awkward. The escorts in this branch might scoff at me. He hesitated at the doorway. He raised his head and then noticed that the sign, Fortune Prestige Escort House, Hunan branch, was upside down. How could the escorts in this branch be so absent-minded as to hang the sign upside down? He was quite surprised. He turned his head to look at the flags and the flagpoles, and then his heart sank. A pair of dirty saddles hung on top of the left flagpole. On the right flagpole was a pair of flower-patterned women's pants. The pants were torn to shreds, but still fluttered in the wind. While he looked on in shock, a man walked out from the escort house. Hey, you son of a turtle! What are you doing sneaking around here? You trying to steal something? Drink? The man yelled. Recognizing that the man had the same kind of accent as Fang Rengji and Jia Renda, Lin Pingqi knew that he must have come from Sichuan as well, so he did not even look at him and immediately started walking away. Suddenly, he felt a pain in his backside. The man had given him a hard kick. Infuriated, Lin Pingqi wanted to turn around and fight the man, but he quashed the urge in an instant. With the escort house obviously occupied by the Qincheng Sword School, it was a perfect opportunity for him to try and get information about his parents, and all he needed to do was to stay calm. Pretending to be just an ordinary person with no skill in kung fu whatsoever, he pretended to take a spill onto the ground and feigned an inability to get up. The man burst into loud laughter and called him a few more sons of turtles, drink, before walking back inside. Lin Pingqi stood up slowly and ambled into a small alley. He begged for a bowl of cold rice and ate it. The enemy is so close by, I'd better not get careless. He reminded he kept reminding himself. Finding some coal ashes on the ground, he smeared them onto his face until it was completely black, then huddled up in a corner against the alley wall and fell asleep. Lin Pingji waited until about 10 at night, then took out his longsword and hung it at his waist. He circled to the back door of the escort house and listened carefully. After making sure there was no sound from within the walls, he jumped on top of the wall. Inside was an orchard. He jumped down quietly and started creeping slowly along the wall. Darkness engulfed the orchard. He was neither light nor sound. There was neither light nor sound. He could feel the beating of his heart. He had his hand out, feeling the wall as he walked, and was dreading the moment he would step on a rock or dry hay and make a noise that would give him away. After walking through 2 courtyards, he saw light coming from the east hall window, so he crept a couple of steps closer when he heard somebody talking. Slowly moving closer and resting under the window, he held his breath and lowered himself inch by inch until he was sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall. Just after he sat down, he heard someone's voice. The chat is going crazy. They're saying, son of a turtle, son of a penguin, son of a dolphin, son of a female dog, son of a cow, son of a beaver, son of a soda can? That's weird. Son of a whale. What is a son of a nuggets? Like gold nuggets? Son of Linfamy. I hope not. Son of a thirsty YouTuber. Son of a beach. Alright. Hey guys. Let's take a 5-minute break. I need to take a bathroom break. 5 minutes, okay? I'm gonna play a song while you wait. Be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. The chat has devolved, guys, into hurling weird insults. Son of a bathroom, son of a mother, son of a coronavirus. You guys, what's going on here? You guys want to hear a story? Yes or no? No? Too bad. Something happened to me. One day, this happened a long time ago. I thought it would be a good idea to get a little beanie, right? Beanie with the words, calm the fuck down. It just says calm the fuck down. Because I don't know why. I thought it would be funny to see people's reactions. So I went online and I looked up places that do that. And sure enough, there are places that do that. And I found a place and I ordered one, right? So they asked to type in what do you want on the hat, on the beanie. I wrote calm the fuck down, right? And then I ordered it and I was super excited. I was waiting for it. And the box, it came in a package, right? The package finally came after a week and I opened it up, super excited, and it had a typo on it. And it was a weird typo. You want to see the hat that they made for me? Right? So it was supposed to say calm the fuck down, all right? Calm the fuck down. Here's what it actually says. What is that? Calm down. That makes no sense. That makes no sense, guys. Like, was there no like quality assurance? No one looked at it like, what does calm down, fuck down mean? That's so weird. Yeah, it's okay though. I contacted them. And they were like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't notice." So they gave me my calm the fuck down beanie in the end. But yeah, now I have a hat, a beanie called calm down, fuck down. That makes no sense. Nobody likes you says this is a Christian Minecraft server. Yes, we're gonna play Minecraft soon. No, we're not. Darder 9000 says calm the flock down. What is calm down? So weird. Gabriel says, be careful. Remember last week when you opened too many other things on your computer, it slowed down. Yeah. I think when I played the YouTube video, it died and it killed the stream. So I'm not doing that anymore. Or I need to upgrade my internet. Because I have the cheapest internet. I got the cheapest tier. And it's been working so far, but I don't know, maybe I need to upgrade. Nikki wants the calm down, fuck down hat or merch. I don't know. I have one. I don't know if I want to give it to you. All right, guys, let's see. So yeah, Lin Pingji is snuck into that Fortune Prestige Escort House branch, and he's listening to like apprentices from the Chincheng school say stuff. Let's just burn the whole son of a turtle escort house. Drink tomorrow morning, so we don't have to stay here and make fools of ourselves. No, we can't, another voice said. Senior apprentice brother Pai and others just burnt down the entire escort house Nankang branch, and I heard that dozens of neighbors' houses were burnt down as well. Something like that won't be good for the reputation of our chivalrous Chincheng Sword School. Yeah, guys, you're so chivalrous. That incident will most likely get them punished by the master. Lin Pingji was filled with outrage. Now, there was no doubt that the Chincheng Sword School was behind these despicable acts. He cursed their hypocrisy for having the gall to still call themselves chivalrous. Well then, we really shouldn't burn the house down, but are we going to just leave the house intact? The previous voice asked. The other one laughed. Junior Brother G, think about it. We've already hung the sign of the escort house upside down and also raised a pair of women's pants on top of their flagpole. The name of the Fortune Prestige Escort House has already been totally trashed. We should leave the pants hanging there for as long as possible. Why bother burning down the house? You're right, Senior Brother Chen. G laughed. Haha, the pair of pants is going to bring the escort house so much bad luck. They won't be able to regain their reputation for at least another 300 years. The two laughed for some time. Then Ji said, we're going to the town of Hengshang tomorrow for Liu Zhengfeng's ceremony. What present shall we bring? The news of the ceremony came so unexpected. If the present isn't good enough, it won't look very good for the reputation of the Chincheng Sword School. I've got the present ready, Shen said in good humor, and relax. I guarantee you that we won't lose face for the Chincheng Sword School. The present might even get us a lot of attention at the banquet for the gold basin hand-washing ceremony. So what is this gold basin hand-washing ceremony? This is when someone washes their hands of the martial arts world, right? So apparently someone famous is going to leave the martial arts world and have nothing to do with all of his like enemies and friends and anything with the martial arts world. He's gonna leave, okay? And they have a ceremony for it. So these guys are talking about that ceremony that they're going to. Oh no, guys, my mouth is getting dry again. I think it's because of the boba, the caffeine. What is the present? Why don't I know about it? Ji asked delightedly. Shen was quite content and let out a chuckle. We are just liberating it, so we can make a gift of it. No need to take anything out of our pockets. Look, is this good enough? The sound of someone opening a package came through the window. Amazing! Ji burst out in a cry of surprise. Senior brother Shen, do you have magic powers? Where the hell did you get such expensive items? Ji asked in awe. Lin Pingji was really tempted to look inside through a crack of the window to see what kind of present it was, but he maintained his discipline, realizing that if he had stuck his head up, a shadow could fall on the window. It would be all over if he let the enemy find him, so he suppressed his curiosity. Then he heard Shen's voice again. Remember, the windows back then were not glass, they were just paper windows, so. Did you think that we occupied the Fortune Prestige Escort House for nothing? I was going to present this pair of jade horses to the master, but right now it is probably better to let old Liu Zhengfeng be the lucky recipient. Remember, Liu Zhengfeng is the guy who's going to leave the martial arts world. A tide of anger washed over Lin Pingji. So they robbed the treasure from our escort house and used it for their own advantage. What a bunch of burglars. What treasures would the Hunan escort house branch have? It was probably a client's goods waiting to be escorted. The pair of jade horses must be extremely valuable. If we can't get them back, father would have to be the one to compensate. Shen laughed again. There are 4 bags here, one for all of the master's wives, one for all of the apprentices, one for you, and one for me. Go ahead, pick one. What are these? Ji asked. After a short while, he burst out with another exclamation of surprise. Wow, these are all gold and jewels. We are damn rich now. What a son of a turtle the escort house is. The hell with them. They really have extorted a lot of money. Senior brother, how did you find these? I searched all over the escort house over a dozen times, and I was just about to dig up the grounds. All I found was about 100 taels of silver. How did you find all this treasure without breaking a sweat? Shen sounded very pleased with himself. Do you think they just put their gold and treasure anywhere? For the last couple of days, I watched you open drawers, smash boxes, take down walls, and have a good time searching. I knew that you'd be busy over nothing, but you would not have believed me. You would not have believed me if I had told you. Anyway, all that searching wouldn't hurt you, big boy. Excellent, excellent. Senior brother Shen, where did you find these? Think about it. There is one thing in this escort house that was out of place. What was it? Out of place? Lots of things are out of place in this son of a turtle escort house. For one, their kung fu skills were so damn poor. But they hung a picture of a vicious-looking lion on their flagpole, Ji scoffed. We replaced that big lion with a pair of women's pants. Now it is appropriate, Shen laughed. Think again. Are there any other strange things in this escort house? These Hunan asses have too many odd habits. For example, Escort Zhang is the chief of the entire branch escort house, but he put a coffin in the room next to his own bed. What bad luck! Ha ha! Ji slapped his leg. Use your head, Shen chuckled. Why would he put a coffin in the next room? Could it be the body of his wife or son that he hates to part with? I think not. I figured he hid something important in the coffin. The coffin was just used to... Aha! Ji jumped up in realization. That's it. These treasures were hidden in the coffin. Cool. Damn, these sons of turtles escorts are just too sneaky. Senior brother Shen, these 2 bags are of the same size. How can I take the same amount as you? You should take the greater share. Then there came sounds of gold and jade tumbling against each other. Apparently, Ji took some jewels out from one bag and put them into another. There was no sound from Shen declining the offer. Senior brother Shen, I'll go get some water. Let's wash our feet and then get some rest, Ji suggested. He yawned and then pushed the door open and walked out. Lin Pingji shrank his body under the window, not daring to move an inch. He peeked from the side of his eyes and saw a short, fat man. He was the one who had kicked him earlier in the day. A little while later, Ji returned with a basin of hot water. Senior brother Shen, this time, the master sent dozens of apprentices out. I'd say that the 2 of us have achieved the most. Thanks to you, even I will look good this time. Senior brother Jiang and other apprentices went to attack the Guangzhou branch, and Senior brother Ma and some other apprentices went to attack the Hangzhou branch. They are so careless. Even if they see a coffin, they wouldn't figure out that there would be treasure inside. Oh, guys, so it looks like it was a coordinated attack against the escort house. Okay, so this wasn't just. I don't think so. This wasn't just because Lin Pingji killed the son of the master of the Qincheng Sword School. I think they have some plan, right, that involves attacking the entire escort house business, all the branches. Wow, Amy, Oreo boba? I didn't know that exists. Maybe I have to look it up because I'm gonna try it. Senior brother Fang, junior brother Yu, Jia and Jia Renda got the Fuzhou headquarters. They must have found more than we did. But since the master's precious son got killed in Fuzhou, they're going to end up with more blame than credit, Shen said cheerfully. The master himself organized the attacks against the Fortune Prestige Escort House headquarters. Senior brother Fang and junior brother Yu were just scouts, Ji said. Master won't blame senior brother Fang and junior brother Yu for the death of junior brother Yu. This time we are striking out in full strength. All the apprentices started the attacks against the headquarters and the branches of the escort house at the same time, but no one expected that the skills of the Lin family were nowhere near their reputation. Just 3 scouts alone were enough to capture Lin Jinan and his wife. Even the master didn't see that coming. Ha ha. You like that laugh? Ha ha. Lin Pingji felt a cold sweat dripping down his forehead. It was clear that the Qincheng Sword School had been plotting the attacks for a long time and attacked all the escort houses simultaneously. The trouble didn't start because he had killed that man named Yu. Even if he hadn't killed that rascal Yu, they would have attacked the escort houses all the same. Even Yu Kanghai himself came to Fuzhou. It was no wonder then that there was an attacker with the skill necessary to perform the heart-crushing palm. So Yu Kanghai is the master of the Qincheng Sword School. So apparently he attacked them too. But how did the escort house offend the Qincheng Sword School? Why did they attack so viciously? By now he realized he no longer needed to blame himself for causing all the trouble, and his rage was ready to explode. If it weren't for the fact that his kung fu skills were no match for his enemies, he'd have broken through the windows and chopped the 2 animals inside into little bits. Then he heard splashing from inside. The 2 had begun washing their feet. Master didn't have the wrong impression, Shen continued. Years ago, when the Fortune Prestige Escort House shocked the southern region of the martial world, they seemed to have some real skills. The evil resisting sword arts earned a great reputation. Remember, that's the martial arts of the Lin family. They couldn't have done it by trickery. I'd say the descendants probably weren't smart enough to learn the real skills from their ancestors. Lin Pingji's face turned red with shame. Before we came to the Mount Qincheng, Shen went on, masters taught us the evil resisting sword art. Although we couldn't learn the whole technique very well in only a couple of months, I think this set of sword moves has a lot of potential. It's just hard to release the power. Junior brother Ji, how much did you figure out? I heard from the master that even Lin Jinan himself could not grasp much of the true idea behind the set of sword moves, Jin replied, so I didn't really study it that hard. Senior brother Shen, the master, gave the order for all apprentices to meet at Hangshan. This means that senior brother Fang and the others will bring the Lin couple to Hangshan, right? I wonder how tough the descendants of the evil resisting sword arts will be. Hearing the shocking news that his parents were still alive and would be brought to Hangshan, Lin Pingji felt both happy and sad at the same time. In just a few short days, you will meet him, Shen said. Then you can practice the evil resisting sword art with him. Haha. Suddenly, the window opened. Lin Pingji was astonished and thought that they had discovered him. But just when he was about to run away, he was doused with hot water from the basin being poured out of the window. He almost cried out in surprise because of the soaking. The light in the room was soon put out, and darkness fell over the courtyard. Lin Pingji was still in shock. He could feel water dripping down from his face, and it had a foul odor. Then he realized that fellow Ji must have poured the filthy water in which they had just washed their feet on him. Although Ji didn't do this intentionally, it was still quite a humiliation. But at least he had learned some information regarding his parents. So no matter what, even if he had to be soaked in urine, it would have been worth it. The knight was now silent, afraid that the two might hear him if he left right away. He decided to wait until they fell asleep. He leaned against the wall and stayed still under the window. After quite a while, the sound of snores arose from inside, and he stood up slowly. Lin Pingji glanced back and suddenly saw a long, quivering shadow cast on the window. Startled, he squatted down instinctively. Then he discovered that it was the window shutter wobbling slightly in the night wind, and realized that Ji didn't bolt the window after dumping out the water. Now is the perfect time for revenge, he told himself. He pulled out his long sword with his right hand, then gently lifted the shutter with his left hand, climbed into the room, and then slowly closed the window. Moonlight shone through the paper on the window. He could see the two men asleep, one on each bed, by one side of the room. The one with the bald head was facing the wall. The other with a wild bush of beard was lying on his back. 5 bags and 2 swords sat on the table in front of the beds. Lin Pingji raised his sword. 1 slash each, just as easy as that, he thought to himself. But when he was about to swing his sword at the fellow who had his face up, another thought came to him. If I kill these two in such an underhanded way, I would simply be a murderer, and it wouldn't be heroic. If later I can learn the family kung fu skills well, and then challenge these Chincheng villains face to face, that would be a hero's way of doing it. He moved the 5 bags to the table by the window, pushed the window open gently, and stepped out. He slid his sword back into its sheath by his waist and took all the bags out through the window. I don't know, maybe he should have killed them. But that might, alert other people, so maybe he did the right thing. Nikki says, ew, foot water. Yu Hintam also says foot water. Yeah, foot water is not a good thing to be poured onto your head. Joshua Wu says, why is Oreo boba tea not popular in the chat? I don't know. Oreo boba tea sounds pretty good, you guys. But any boba sounds good to me right now. After tying 3 of the bags to his back and grabbing the other 2 with his hands, he walked slowly toward the back courtyard, afraid to make any noise that might wake the 2 up. He opened the back door and quietly walked out of the escort house. After figuring out the direction, he headed directly toward the south town gate. The gate was still closed because it was night, so he hid by a small hammock and tried to get some rest. His heart beat very rapidly, since he still feared that the 2 Chincheng apprentices might find out what had happened and come after him. At dawn the next morning, when the gate opened, he went out right away and spared no strength running down the road. After running for 4 or 5 miles, he finally felt he was out of danger and calmed down. Ever since leaving Fuzhou, this was the first time he truly felt relaxed. Seeing a small noodle restaurant by the road, he went in and ordered a bowl of noodles. He did not dare to stay long, so after finishing up the bowl, he immediately reached into the bag for money and took a small lump of silver out to pay for the meal. The restaurant owner gathered all the copper coins in the small restaurant and still could not find enough change. Lin Pingji simply waved his hand and said loudly, "Keep the change, don't worry about it." After so many days of ill treatment, humiliation, and being looked down upon during his travels, Lin Pingji finally reclaimed his young master attitude. After another 10 miles, Lin Pingji arrived at a large town. He booked a first class inn a first-class inn room, and then opened the 5 bags, after bolting the door and the windows shut. The first 4 bags contained all manner of gold, silver, jade, and jewelry. The 5th bag, a bit smaller, contained a beautiful brocade box, and inside the box there was a pair of 5-inch tall jade horses. Those were the presents that those two were going to give to the guy who was going to leave the martial arts world. Yeah, so he just took them. With just one branch of the escort house, we've already accumulated so much treasure. No wonder even the Qincheng Sword School has cast greedy eyes on the escort houses, he thought. He took out some small lumps of silver and put them in his pocket, and then combined all the rest into a big package he could carry on his back. He then went out to the market and bought 2 fast horses. For the next couple of days, he rode the 2 horses in turns and only slept 4 or 5 hours each night. Thus, by spending as much time as possible traveling, he soon arrived at the town of Hengshan. As soon as he entered the town, he noticed many denizens of the martial world going about in the streets. So it looks like a lot of these people are going to attend that ceremony. And I'm guessing the master of the Qincheng school will be there also. Concerned about the possibility of bumping into Fang Rengji or other Qincheng Sword School members, he ducked his head and straight away went to look for an inn. But after checking several inns, he found that none of them had a vacancy. It's going to be Master Liu's gold basin hand-washing ceremony 3 days from now. That's why our inn is already full of guests. Try your luck at another inn, a porter suggested. With no other choice, Lin Pingji tried his luck in some remote streets, and after asking at 3 different inns, he finally found a room. He figured, although I had covered my face with ashes, Fang Rengji is pretty sharp, and he might still be able to see through my disguise. So he bought 3 pieces of sticking plaster at the local pharmacy and stuck the plaster to his face. He stretched his eyebrow downward and pulled the left corner of his mouth up until it was turned over and revealed half of his teeth. When he looked at himself in the mirror, Lin Pingji saw an ugly man of miserable appearance. Even he himself could not stand it. Then he strapped the big bag containing all of the treasures against his back and then dressed over it. Bowing down a little, he was transformed into a hunchback with a big hump. Joshua asked, Linfamy, are you always this thirsty? I don't know, but when reading I am. My mouth is dry. I need to drink a lot. I look so dreadful. Even Mom and Dad wouldn't recognize me now. No wonder, no more worries, he thought. After eating a big bowl of noodles with pork chops, he decided to just wander around, hoping to accidentally bump into his parents or simply hear something about the Qincheng Sword School. Any information would be useful. He wandered for about half a day until small raindrops suddenly began to fall from the sky. He bought a big bamboo fiber hat on the street and hurriedly put it on. Dark, heavy clouds were gathering in close to the horizon, and it seemed that the rain wouldn't stop soon at all. He turned onto a street and saw a tea shop full of people, so he went in and sat down. The waiter brought out a teapot, a small plate of pumpkin seeds, and a small plate of broad beans. Lin Pingji drank a cup of tea and started chewing the seeds to kill time when he heard somebody say, "Hey, hunchback, mind if we share your table?" The man did not wait for Lin Pingji to answer and just sat down. 2 others sat down as well. At first, Lin Pingji didn't realize that the man was talking to him. After a slight hesitation, he finally remembered that he was the hunchback they had referred to. So he replied with a smile, Sure, be my guest." All 3 were dressed in black and all had weapons by their waist. The 3 men were intent upon their drinking and conversation and didn't even give Lin Pingji another glance. Master Liu's gold basin hand washing ceremony is really going to be a big party. It's still 3 days until the ceremony, and guests have already filled the whole town, a young one said. Of course, a one-eyed man concurred. The Hengshang Sword School. The Hengshang Sword School is, remember, they're one of the five sword schools of that sword school alliance. Remember, they had a the alliance has 5 sword schools, and each school is on a different mountain, right? So they had a north, south, east, and west, and then central, 5 mountains, and on each mountain is one sword school. Okay, so Hangshang is one of those sword schools. So the guy who's leaving the martial arts world seems to be some big shot in this Hangshang sword school. The Hangshang Sword School has already got a great reputation by itself, not to mention that it is a member of the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance. Yeah, that's the alliance, which is even more famous. Who wouldn't want to be on their good side? Besides Liu Zhengfeng, Master Liu is excellent in Kung Fu. His expertise is in the 36 moves of wind-twirling geese, falling sword, and he is considered the second best in the Hangshang Sword School, only slightly lower in skill than the headmaster of the Hangshang Sword School, Great Mr. Mo. Lots of people have wanted to make his acquaintance, but he never had birthday parties or weddings for his children or any kind of events, so there were no good excuses to meet him. No wonder all kinds of people from the martial world are gathering here once they heard about the Happy Gold Basin hand washing event. I'd say tomorrow and the day after, it's going to be even more crowded in the town of Hangshang. So they're saying this Liu Zhangfang guy is the second best fighter in the Hangshang school. Okay, and he's the guy who's leaving the martial arts world. Not everyone came here to just make friends with Liu Zhangfang, another man with a gray beard said sardonically. The 3 of us are not coming for that, are we? Liu Zhangfeng is doing his gold basin hand washing. That means after the ceremony, he will never use his kung fu again, and will no longer care who's right and who's wrong in the martial world. There won't be a Master Liu in the martial world anymore. Since he will vow to never use his sword again, what's the use of the 36 moves of the wind-twirling geese falling sword? After the hand washing, a kung fu master would just be like any average person, and all his skills will be wasted. What's the point of making friends with him then? Well, the young one argued, although Master Liu won't be using his kung fu skills anymore, he is still the second most powerful person in the Hangshang Sword School. By making friends with Master Liu, one can also make friends with the Hangshang Sword School, which in turn means you can make friends with the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance. To make friends with the 5 Mountains Sword Alliance? Are you worthy of that? The graybeard sneered. Brother Peng, don't talk like that, the one-eyed man said. We lived in the martial world, the more friends the better. The less enemies, the luckier. The 5 Mountains Sword Alliance does have great skills, yet they still show respect to all the friends in the martial world. If they had acted arrogantly and looked down upon everyone else, then why are there so many guests in Hangshang town? The graybeard snorted and fell silent. After a long while, he spoke again. Probably because people curry favor with the powerful. Just looking at them makes me angry. They're giving us a little backstory onto these powerful sects. Lin Pingji wished the 3 would keep talking, so perhaps they might say something about the Qincheng Sword School, but since they did not agree with each other, they each drank his tea and said nothing. Then he heard someone behind him speak with a low voice. Uncle Wang, I heard that Master Liu is only about 50 years old, just about the peak age for his kung fu skills. Why did he suddenly decide to quit the martial world? Isn't that a waste? An old voice answered, People in the martial world have all kinds of reasons to wash their hands. For example, someone can be a big gangster of the heterodox persuasion who had committed many crimes, but after washing his hands, he won't be killing people or burning houses any longer. First, by this means he can leave a better reputation for his descendants, and second, if serious crimes were committed in his neighborhood, he would not be a suspect. But Master Liu is very wealthy, and his family has been rich for many generations, so of course, what I just said would not apply to him. Of course, it has nothing to do with him, another man agreed. Uncle Wong continued. One that studies martial arts deals with combat all his life. It is very possible that at some point he will hurt or kill somebody and make enemies. As he gets old, knowing that all these enemies are still out there in the martial world would really weigh him down with worry. Now, when Master Liu invited so many guests and informed the whole world that he won't be using Kung Fu anymore, that what he is really saying is that his enemies won't have to worry about his revenge, and that he himself hopes that his enemies won't come and give him trouble either. Uncle Wong, don't you think he is really putting himself at a disadvantage? The young man asked. Why a disadvantage? Uncle Wong didn't understand the question. Master Liu won't be going around giving trouble to other people, the young man explained, but other people can come and give trouble to him at any time. If someone wants to kill him and Master Liu can't use his Kung Fu skills, then he is just going to let them kill him without even defending himself? You young lads really don't know much, Uncle Wong grinned. If somebody wants to kill you, of course you are going to defend yourself. With the kind of fame the Hangshang Sword School has and the great skills Master Liu possesses, one should pray to Buddha that Master Liu doesn't give him any trouble. Who would be so stupid as to give trouble to him? Do they have the heart of a lion or the guts of a panther? Even if Master Liu decides not to fight them himself, he has many apprentices. Which of them would be easy to overcome? You are really worrying for nothing. There is always someone stronger than the strong who dares to claim that he can defeat all comers. The graybeard that sat on opposite to Lin Pingji murmured to himself. I used the wrong voice. But he spoke with a very low voice, and neither of the two behind him heard his words. Like those escorts, Uncle Wong went on. If they had made a fortune and then decided to retire at the height of their career, close their business early, and wash their hands and stop earning risky money, that would have been a smart thing to do. These words struck Lin Pingji like a thunder. If father had retired a couple of years ago and washed his hands, what would life be like today? He couldn't help asking himself. Clay jars always break by the well. Generals always die in battles. Onlookers always see better than the players. To really quit at the height of one's career is far easier said than done. The graybeard murmured again. Absolutely, the one-eyed man couldn't agree more. For the last couple of days, I've heard many people say, Master Liu's fame is like the sun at high noon, and he resolutely retired at the height of his career. How admirable. A middle-aged man dressed in silk robes, sitting by the table to the left, broke into their conversation. I was in the town of Wuhan a couple of days ago. Oh, was he wearing a mask? I hope so. I heard that some friends in the martial world that Master Liu had to wash his hands and renounce the martial world because of troubles that would be better left unmentioned. What did they say? Well, why don't you tell us about it? The one-eyed man turned around and asked. The story would be fine in Wuhan, but here in Hangshang, I better not speak so freely, the man smiled. Many people have already heard the rumor, so why do you bother pretending it's such a secret? A short, fat man said in a deep, grumpy voice. Everybody is saying that Master Liu has to wash his hands because he is too skilled in Kung Fu, and that he is too popular among friends. He spoke with a loud voice, and instantly all eyes turned to him. Why does someone have to quit the martial world because of his skills and popularity? Why is that? Several people asked at the same time. People who don't know the inside history will be confused, of course, but once you learn the secrets, you won't think it is strange at all, the short fat man said, contentedly. So this is kind of important, guys. It's gonna affect the rest of the story. The reason why he's quitting the martial arts world. What inside story? Somebody asked. The short fat man just smiled, but did not answer. Why bother asking him? He doesn't know the story either. He's just blowing a lot of hot air. A thin man several tables away retorted haughtily. Of course I know, the short fat man declared loudly, unable to ignore the barb. Master Liu is washing his hands because he takes the situation as a whole into consideration, so there won't be any internal conflict within the Hangshang Sword School. Once again, several people clamored for an explanation, all at once. How is he taking the situation as a whole? What internal conflicts? Do they have problems between fellow apprentices? Oh, Trenton Quarantino. Thanks, man. Oh, thanks. Sorry. Thanks, Tia. $4.99. That's a super sticker. Super sticker. There's a difference between super stickers and super chats. The short fat man began his explanation. Outsiders all consider Master Liu the second best fighter in the Hangshang Sword School, but everybody in the Hangshang Sword School knows that Master Liu's skill in the 36 moves of the wind-twirling, geese-falling sword is far greater than the headmaster of Hangshang Sword School. Great Mr. Mo can pierce 3 wild geese with 1 thrust, but Master Liu can get 5. All of the apprentices under Master Liu are better than those apprentices under Great Mr. Mo. The situation has become more and more tense. In a couple of years, Great Mr. Mo's fame most likely will be eclipsed by that of Master Liu. I heard that the 2 factions have already fought a couple of times in secret. Master Liu has a large, wealthy family. He doesn't want to compete with his senior apprentice brother for fame. That's why he wants to wash his hands so he can just retire quietly to a life of peace and luxury. Most admirable, many people declared, nodding. Master Liu knows what's important and what's not. People like that are rare. Then Great Mr. Mo is really making a great mistake. Isn't he weakening the power of his own Hangshang Sword School by forcing Master Liu to renounce the martial world? Somebody else asked. How can one man figure everything out? All I want is to be the headmaster of the sword school without challenge. Who the hell cares if the power is more or less? The middle-aged man in silk sneered in imitation of Great Mr. Mo. The short fat man took a couple of sips of tea and began banging the lid of the teapot loudly. More tea! More tea! He shouted. Then he said, See, this is really a big event for the Hangshang Sword School. There are guests from every kind of schools and clans, but the Hangshang Sword School itself... Before he could finish his sentence, someone near the door struck some chords on a huqin. I think that's how you say it. A huqin is like it's a musical instrument. I think it has 2 strings and you play it with kind of like a violin. Let's look it up, guys. Yeah. This is the huqin. So here's a string, and then here's the bow to play it. And someone began to sing. No, I'm not singing that. The poor young family showed great loyalty, protected the Song government. The words were drawn out and sounded quite melancholy. Everybody turned around to look, and saw an old, tall, thin man sitting next to a table. His face looked haggard, and he was dressed in a long blue robe. The robe had been washed so many times that some parts looked more white than blue, making him look quite decrepit. He was obviously some kind of a begging performer. Shut your devilish voice, the short fat man yelled at him. Don't you know that you just cut me off? The old man stopped playing his huqin so loudly, but he continued humming. At the golden sand beach, double dragons met, lost the battle. Hey buddy, you were just talking about all the schools and clans having sent people. So what about the Hangshang Sword School itself? Someone asked. The apprentices of Master Liu are greeting guests all over Hangshang Hangshan town, but other than Master Liu's apprentices, have you seen any other apprentices from the Hangshan Sword School? The short fat man continued. The people in the crowd just looked at each other and their speculation turned into an indistinct buzz. That's right, how come we didn't see any? But isn't that a bit disrespectful to Master Liu? The short fat man grinned at the man in the silk robe. That's why I think you are just playing chicken, afraid to talk about the internal conflict in the Hangshan Sword School. What are you worried about? No one from the Hangshan Sword School is going to be here. How are they going to hear about this? The sound of the huqin once again got louder and the tune changed. The old man began to sing again. The young lad caused great trouble. Stop annoying people, a young man yelled at him. Here's some money. He flicked his hand and a bundle of copper coins flew over and landed in front of the old man. The aim was very accurate. The old man thanked him and put the coins in his pocket. Hey brother, you are a projectile expert. That throw was most excellent, the short fat man exclaimed in praise. It was nothing, the young man smiled. So, brother, according to what you are saying, Great Mr. Mo is not showing up? How could he show up? The relationship between Great Mr. Mo and Master Liu is like that of water and fire. They'd start a fight the minute they saw each other. Master Liu has already given ground. Great Mr. Mo should be satisfied, the short fat man said. The old huqin player stood up, suddenly, and walked slowly in front of the short fat man. He looked him up and down. What do you want, old man? The short fat man demanded in annoyance. You are talking nonsense. The old man shook his head and then turned around and walked away. Infuriated, the short fat man stuck his hand out to grab the old man by his scruff. Without warning, a light flashed in front of his eyes, and the blade of a long, thin sword flew toward the table. The sharp ring of the blade echoed. The short fat man was so astonished that he jumped back instinctively, afraid to be hurt by the sword. Then he saw the old man slowly insert the sword into the bottom of the huqin until the whole sword disappeared into the instrument. No one would have expected a sword to be hidden in an old huqin. You are talking nonsense. The old man shook his head again, then slowly walked out of the tea shop. Everyone watched him disappear into the rain, and all there was left was the sad music from the huqin, vaguely drifting from the distance. Look at the table! Someone uttered a cry of surprise. Everybody looked in the direction of his finger was pointing. There were 7 teacups on the table where the short fat man had sat. A ring around half an inch wide had been neatly sliced from each cup. The 7 china rings had fallen by the cups, yet none of the cups had ever moved an inch. It looked like that huqin guy, the musician, was a really skilled kung fu master. Yeah, and he cut the tops of the teacups. Right? And so the teacups are here, he cuts the top and they fall down. But he never moves the cups, so it looks like he's really powerful. And that's that. That's the chapter, or that's part 1 of the chapters. Which is good because my voice is getting really bad. Amanda Wong says there's a comment saying, wow, the skill cut through the teacups. I don't get it. Nobody Likes You says, in Florida, you can be arrested for skydiving on a Sunday if you are married a woman. Okay. All right, guys, that's the end. That's the end. Oh, I got one thing to show you guys. So one viewer bought me something. He bought me something, and I'm gonna show it to you guys. All right, 1 second. Woo! Look at that. Someone bought me this, and I'm gonna drink it right now in front of you. Shout out to Joe. He's also a patron. So thanks, Joe. Let me see if I can do this. My desk is all messy. Oh. This. Yeah. This is Jack Daniels. Come on. Cinnamon liquor. So it's Jack Daniels with cinnamon. Tennessee whiskey. All right, guys. Cheers. Good stuff. All right, guys, we're done. Thanks for sticking around. Things are getting more interesting. Well, I'll see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Bye. Nikki, yeah, fire. It's gonna burn. No, it's pretty good. The cinnamon you can really taste the cinnamon. And that's pretty good. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks for coming again. Cheers.